Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hello and welcome to New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, and on this Tuesday, January 14th, we say hello. Call us up. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us today. We're going to be here for 2 hours, and the second hour we'll play at a later date, but you can call us today to ask your questions. And here to answer your questions today, we've got clinical psychologist Dr. Jill Hubbard and licensed marriage and family therapist Chris Williams. How you guys doing?
Doing well today.
Great. Yeah. Chris, nice meeting you.
Great meeting you, Brian. I'm so excited to be working with you. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Likewise. So what do you have for us today? What's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind is work. But really, let me back this up because I love the book Ecclesiastes because it's like, forgive me for the philosophical language, but it's like one big existential crisis, right? Everything is meaningless. From dust we came, to dust we will return.
No hope.
It's like in the crescendo at the end of the book is, well, the best you can hope for is follow God's will. Is basically the Chris Williams version of that. But embedded in these, I think, are some really practical, important nuggets. And I'm going to give you a nugget. And this is really for me. I hit like 49 years old, and I realized I want my work life to look different in my 50s than I did in my 40s. And I ran across this in Ecclesiastes 3:22. And it says this: "So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because this is their lot. For who can bring them to see what was happened after them?" And basically it's saying that, like, all of our talk about legacy, which is good, really the writer of Ecclesiastes is saying, even if you have a legacy, it's going to be very, very short-lived. So enjoy the work that you have now. And this is really what I challenge myself with right now, and that is sometimes there's work that we get to do that's a lot of fun. Like I get to come on a radio program and just have a lot of fun doing it. And then there's work that you have to do, like I did yesterday, of tax preparation, which is not fun at all.
Right.
But what I'm learning is to learn to love the work where it is. And then learning how I function best and how I don't function best. Jill, you and I have had these conversations about, my work, as a therapist and different things I'm doing. And I realized I'm not great at people management. And that's weird, being a therapist. But I'm great at providing experiences of healing and growth. And so I've had this opportunity to eliminate the things that make my life miserable. And keep repeating and doing the things in my life that I really enjoying, because it really is that when we look at our work, it's going to affect every other area of our life. And I'll leave it with this. What I'm learning is I spent the first part of my career building life around a career. I'm going to spend the second half building a career around my life, because I see this as true wisdom. There's nothing better than for a person to enjoy their work, and I want to be one of those people. Yeah. Jill, any thoughts on that?
Well, and it's not about the ideal job per se,
Absolutely
right? Because
not.
some people have to do certain things.
Absolutely.
It's about finding the joy within whatever it is you're doing.
I think that's a really, really important point, Jill, because that's what I was saying, is like preparing taxes yesterday was part of the ability to do what I love to do. And it's learning to love that as much as anything else.
So Chris, Jill, and I's job today is to talk to you, and you can make it more enjoyable for us by calling us at 1-800-229-3000. We would love to chat with you, get what's on your mind, see what you're going through, see if we can help you with your trials, your struggles. I don't know what you might be going through right now, but you do. The Lord knows, and you're tuned in right now, or you're watching us live. You can call us with your questions at 1-800-229-3000.
Here at New Life, we want you to have transformation. And so we have created the New Life courses, and we are going to launch them in January. And you meet weekly on Zoom with a coach or counselor. You're going to have teaching as well as that group connection, because we know how powerful that is. We hear that all the time about our intensives, that they love the information, but the group process is so powerful. And many of you have been hesitant to participate because you're not sure, the timing, the price. The New Life courses are going to meet you right at that area of need. We are going to provide a grief recovery course, and that's 12 weeks, and also Lose It for Life. Every week you're meeting on Zoom with that therapist. You're going over the concepts as well as connecting as a group. It is so powerful, and it's accessible. Wherever you are, you're going to be able to join us.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Let's get to your phone calls in just a little bit at 1-800-229-3000. But first, I want to read a question that was sent in online, because there are multiple ways to get your questions to us. If you can't call us when we do a live program or when we're recording a program, you can go to our website, newlife.com/radio. You can leave us a voicemail. You can type in your question, whichever is better for you, and you can get all those details at newlife.com/radio. Here's a question that was sent in by Irene, and Irene is a Club New Life member, so thank you so much, Irene, for supporting New Life and for sending in your question today. Is it too late to do anything about our adult son who lives in our home and doesn't engage with us? I love each one of you, and I hope I can get some help with my dilemma. I'm married with 3 children, 2 older daughters, and 1 son who is 28. Our son still lives at home and stays in his bedroom most of the time, except to go to work at his part-time job or eat meals alone. He's had a girlfriend for over 2 years now. He's not a Christian and sometimes has a short fuse. He doesn't really engage with us, pays minimal room and board. I strongly believe he's addicted to porn. He has no interests or hobbies and has nothing to show for his time in his room. I guess I'm feeling taken advantage of and wish he would just move out. My husband feels like he's fine, and what's the big deal? It's been about 15 years now. I feel like we are failure parents to our son. What do you guys think?
Yeah, there's a lot here, and unfortunately, this is becoming much more common. I mentioned my age at the top of the show, and this is kind of dating me, and I'm like, I just remember being 18 and can't wait to get out on my own and start life. But I also know that the times are very different. The economic situations are very, very different today, especially when it comes to housing. But here's what I do know. Man was not created to be alone, and isolation is a petri dish for all kinds of unhealthy things. So
is that in Ecclesiastes also?
That's in
petri dish. Yeah,
yeah,
that
petri
word's
dish
in the Bible.
Yes. Right. Yeah. But with that said, I think, Irene, you're right to be concerned that he is isolated in his room, and that most likely there could be. It would be no surprise whatsoever if porn was part of what he's doing and an addiction behind it. And I think that, to push against what your husband's approach is, to avoid a situation is to only keep it alive and going and getting worse. So you have to have the courage to be able to address it, and I think address it head on and start with the conversation of here's what I'm concerned about and here's what doesn't work for us with you living here.
Jill?
Well, it sounds like her and her husband aren't really on the same page, and I'm wondering if husband is perhaps conflict avoidant and maybe, see some of himself in son, and son's not bothering him, and maybe not, I'm assuming a lot here, not a lot is required of him, so he's fine with the situation. It is true that boys especially the 20s are really a time of trying to figure out their identity, and it's more prolonged than I think with girls. But they are allowing this situation. And I think you have to ask, at 30, when my son is 30, would I be okay with this situation? And, we don't know the specific circumstances, but has he ever lived outside of the house? She said 15 years of this. Well, he's only been an adult for 10 years, technically. So, but maybe he's isolated a lot, and that's part of his personality. I think mom and dad need to get on the same page.
I agree with that,
And maybe they even need to do some couples counseling to say, hey, we're looking at this differently, and mom's alarmed, and it's like, Dad, I need you to be, with me, at least meet her in the middle.
Yeah.
And so maybe address some of the ways in which mom gets stirred up and dad ignores.
Well, and I think underneath that, you have to address the fears, because I think a lot of fear is driving the avoidance here.
Yeah.
What is mom afraid of? What is dad afraid of? What is son afraid of? And how is fear dictating unhealthy dynamics that are going on and keeping, it sounds like, the son stuck in an adolescent place.
Yeah, he definitely is. I mean, and if he's not wanting more for himself, you just wonder why.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
So Irene says she feels like she's being taken advantage of. What kind of help could we provide to Irene to maybe not make her feel that way, and also to maybe put more of an ultimatum on her son? Like, she says that he pays minimal room and board. I mean, is it time to raise the rent? Is it time to, just to get him to do something?
I think all those things need to be visited, but I think mom and dad have to be in some form of agreement, or at least agree to disagree, but we're going to go with, okay, mom, you're uncomfortable, so we're going to raise the rent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There has to be something, and I think there does need to be a plan for son moving out on his own, because it's not healthy for him.
Yeah.
Well, and to back that up, she also said that she feels like she's a failure as a parent.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be addressed inside of Irene, is that, I always pick on my own profession, right? And what we do. It's mom's fault, it's dad's fault.
Yeah.
But there's something very subtly dangerous about that. And what it does is it sets the parents up in a godlike position. We are not the determiners of our children's future.
There's so many variables along the way.
We are not God. Now, obviously, we want to do the best we can. I want to mitigate as much damage as I'm doing to my boys right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to get healthier. But the truth of the matter is they don't get out of the struggle, and they don't get out of the suffering on planet Earth. No one does. And so part of that is I would encourage Irene to release yourself from the outcome of your son's life.
Well, and to maybe be aware that not everyone's standards are going to be the same as hers.
Yes.
And so what she would want for her life and what she wanted for her children, they may not want for themselves.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing, because we do measure, and especially if your main career is parenthood, we do measure our success by kind of how our proteges turn out, right? And that's really unfair to do to them.
That's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to both people.
It is.
Because of how much you're not in charge of that outcome. Yeah.
And you have to allow them to be their own people.
Yes. And figure it out.
The outcome of their life and whatever they're involved in, it's their journey.
And how do you do that, Jill?
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. You do that through a lot of pain.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, the thing with Irene, and undoubtedly lots of people listening and watching, is the verse in the Bible. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So we have no idea how Irene raised her children, but we're not here to judge or anything. But at the same time, there's that feeling that parents have, like when they feel inadequate about how their kids turned out or are turning out.
Well, at 28, he's still in process.
Yeah.
True.
And the fact that he's stuck in adolescence, he's not fully adulted yet.
And even that verse, the Hebrew behind it is really, well, Hebrew is just a weird language. Let's just start that out. But it's like a gymnast. It takes on many different forms, because there's only a third of the words in Hebrew that there are English. And so I think the essence is there, but it's also like some of that is agrarian. It's talking about a sunflower that points to the sun, and when it's fully mature, it does its thing. And so I think part of that verse also is help a child understand who they are and who they are in Christ or who they are in God. And when they're older, they will be secure within themselves. But they also have to figure that out. That's the word. We guide them in that.
Yeah.
But it's their job to embrace it, to be a part of it, to do their own work.
Okay, Irene, thank you so much for sending in your question online at newlife.com/radio. And another way you can get your question to us, as you can see at newlife.com/radio, is to send us a voicemail. And we've got one of those that we're going to play right now if it's ready to go. But the best way to get an answer right now is to call us. We're going to be here for 2 hours today. 1-800-229-3000 is the phone number. 1-800-229-3000. I'm here with Dr. Jill Hubbard and Chris Williams at 1-800-229-3000. And let's hear that call now.
My name is Diane, and I have a son who recently got married. It's our only son. He is 31 now. He got married this past year in April. Since he's gotten married, there's been a change in him. His wife is very controlling, as is his father-in-law. They were never very warm to myself and my husband, even when we first met them. They were rude, and I put up with it, and, we just try to turn the other cheek. But now, since they've been married, he can't even give me an answer over coming over for the holidays. His answer is, you have to ask her. She makes all the decisions. So it's just really built a big wedge between us to where we're not even speaking now. And I would just like to know how. I told him that unless he comes over alone and we have a conversation about what is going on, I do not want to deal with any of this anymore, as far as having to go through her with any conversations or any questions or permission for any kind of visitation with him. They have no children. They just married. But I told them we need to have a conversation. And I just want to know if this is right or wrong. I just got a random text after 3 months wishing us a happy Thanksgiving. And my husband and I, neither one of us even replied, because we're both hurt and disappointed that he has never even picked up the phone to call. I had told him I had a surgery and was not doing well. He didn't bother. So I would just like to know what's the best way to handle this. It's very painful for me. He's my only family.
Okay, what would you guys say to Diane?
Wow. Well, Diane, it is very painful, and fully understand your hurt and why you would feel the way you do. I think in these situations, and we talk so much now about this because it's becoming more prevalent, that, parents who have a good relationship with a child then marry, and the spouse sometimes is the one that then takes over, and there's a new rhythm that starts happening. It sounds like your son is probably trying to, keep his head above water as best he can in a situation with people that are, controlling his life. And newly married, you want to make it work. So as he's had to leave and cleave, now his wife is the number one female. And that's a hard shift for moms and dads who are like, well, wait a minute, we were in there. And it's so unfortunate because it certainly doesn't have to be this way. I think your son feels very ill-equipped. And so even though your hurt is understandable, I wouldn't be acting out your hurt against your son.
Yeah, I agree with that.
In that way. Take it to other people, to each other, to friends, to a therapist. And with your son, you want to do everything you can to try to connect with him.
Yeah.
So I do like the idea of, can we meet? Can we meet for coffee? Just you, so that you get a better sense of what's going on. But if your hurt is at the forefront, you're not going to win in that situation because, again, he's trying to survive. So I think your concern needs to be for him. And tell us how, what's going on with you and how you are managing this and why you feel like you have to acquiesce.
Yeah.
Because where's his backbone, really? But
Well, if he's avoidant with his wife, he's
Yeah.
definitely going to be avoidant with his mom.
Yeah.
And so we
any
know
pressure, right?
Yeah.
He just caves.
So if the bitterness, I can hear it in her voice, the
Yes.
bitterness and the hurt, which come from a genuine place, but it's not, to your point, Jill, it's not going to help the cause.
No.
I would back this up, man. It's sort of heartbreaking to me that they didn't have these conversations during engagement
Yeah.
of what life will be like, because it will always be different once kids get married.
Yes.
And it seems like there is a lot of unsaid and unmet expectations driving a lot of hurt here. And so I would really encourage her to address that in herself. What are some unrealistic expectations you have right now?
Diane, thank you for calling us with your question, and the way she did that is by leaving us a voicemail, and you can find out about that at newlife.com/radio. But the best way to get an answer is to call us when we're here live, like today. We're going to be here for a total of 2 hours, and we're just halfway done with the first hour, so that gives us, 3/4 left, right? If I'm doing the math right. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call, and we would love to hear from you. Monica, we'll start with you when we come back.
I've been struggling with a porn addiction for the last 20 years.
Are you struggling with porn? New Life's Every Man's Battle Intensive can help.
Every Man's Battle explains to you why you are like you are, and they give you the tools and they show you how to work your way through the problems and where to get help and how to get help and who to get help through.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
This was the first time in my life that I ever felt comfortable in sharing the real me with other men.
Get help on February 28th in Orange County, California. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Use the discount code NLL to save $50 on your registration.
Every Man's Battle was a life-changing experience for me.
You don't have to struggle any longer. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
You know, at New Life, we believe in recovery, and our Life Recovery Today TV show aired this morning at 9:30 Eastern Time on NRB TV, which is channel 378 on DirecTV. If you missed it live, you can find our most recent episodes at liferecoverytoday.net. And on today's show, Dr. Alice Benton and Becky Brown are discussing the importance of forgiving yourself and others. You got to check that out. Now, if you prefer listening to your podcasts, we also have a Life Recovery Today podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. And in today's podcast, Steve Arterburn is explaining the roles of willingness, sacrifice, and faith in the recovery process. Watching or listening is a great way to learn more about life recovery. And again, that's at liferecoverytoday.net. Or wherever you get your podcasts. I love saying that word, podcasts.
Podcasts.
Okay. Let's go to the phones now. Here is Monica in Washington, D.C., listening on WAVA. Thank you, Monica, for calling 1-800-229-3000.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Dr. Spencer. Question I had is that how do you navigate the feelings or whatever emotions that you feel when you have a child that, you know, they explain to you what their issues were with you as their parent, and then you hear it and you understand it, you receive it, and you ask for forgiveness, and they say they forgive you, but then they don't, because you keep having this. When they have an episode, they keep bringing the same stuff back up over and over, and not only that, they never recognize the wrong that they've done, and I'm okay with that. But I don't want to keep having the same conversations over and over again, because it spills down to my grandkids, where I can't even see my grandkids. When these situations happen, how do you navigate through that?
What do you guys think?
I have a daughter that's 42.
Monica, what's her biggest protest against you? Like, if she were to say, "Hey, there is this one pattern or one behavior that I don't like that you do," what would she say?
She told me I had a communication problem.
Okay. No, I don't mean to chuckle, but I'm like, yeah, we all do.
I'm being honest.
Yes. Yeah, but is there anything particular about the communication? Like, do you interrupt her? Do you not? Does she feel unlistened to?
Well, she did say that if she said something, that I don't respond. And a lot of times I don't respond because we have had this conversation over and over again. I acknowledge what you said, and I ask for forgiveness, but here we go again.
Yeah.
So I don't know, why do we keep having these conversations? How do we move forward with the forgiveness part and the recovery part and not take it out on my grandkids as well? Because during the process, it's hindering me from seeing my grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
It spills over, So.
Yeah. So, Monica, I know it's so tiring to have these repetitive conversations, but when it keeps coming up again and again, there's something that your daughter needs or thinks she needs from you that isn't happening. And so I think it's important to ask that. And you said, you listen to her, and that's good, and you're not defending, and you apologize. But it sounds like, and probably with repeated conversations, you want to move through it more quickly. And I think that she may be needing more empathy from you and more of you really seeing it from her, through her eyes. Moms we're the safest people. For most of the time, we're the safest people for our children. And so obviously she keeps going back to this hurt. So I would say, you know what, I want to listen to you. I want to hear you. It seems like there might be something else you need from me that you're not getting as we keep coming back to this. Or that the wound was just so deep for you, it gets re-triggered. And so how can I be of help to you? And ask her to really think about what she's needing in this process. So you're not just going around the merry-go-round again, over and over again. It's like, what do you need different than what I've given you now?
Yeah. That's exactly the question I wrote down here, Jill, is for you, Monica, to be able to ask her, daughter, what do you need? Now, I think in hearing the answer in that, we've got to be realistic, because she may give you an answer that doesn't match the reality of who you are or who she expects you to be. And that requires a deeper conversation of like, here's who I am as your mom, and here's what I can do for you. Because again, it goes back to what I was saying before, when we put parents in the godlike position, we expect them to be God.
Yeah.
And
to make it all go away.
Yes, we are imperfect human beings that have limitations. And that's not to be an excuse, but it is to have honest conversation around it. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we get blamed for if you had done X, Y, and Z, my life would be so much better.
Yes.
And so now we blame mom for the choices that we are making.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and it's tricky because some of those things could actually be true.
Right, I know.
But it doesn't change the fact again. I think the theme here is like for 20s and 30-year-olds out there, I love you guys, and I'm telling you, there is joy in responsibility. Find that joy.
Yeah, because even if your parent did hurt you, it's still your job to fix it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Monica, thanks for calling. We'll check back in with you in a little bit when we come back from the break here on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call. I want to ask a question regarding what Monica just brought up, but everybody else, you guys can call with your questions too. 1-800-229-3000. We will be right back here on New Life Live.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, May 2nd through the 4th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch listening to all this great information and not paying. So my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Brian Perez here, along with Dr. Jill Hubbard and Chris Williams. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. We were talking to Monica just before the break. Monica, what do you think of the advice that Jill and Chris have given you?
I think it was awesome, and I think it's, I don't know if it could, I think I've tried partial of it, but I think it's the delivery with my daughter when speaking. I mean, because she talks to me as though I'm a child, and I am her mother, and I'm trying to, in order for her to get her message across, I'm trying to get her to understand that I'm your mother, no matter how old you are. I'm the mother, you're the daughter. You know what I mean? So show a little respect in your delivery when you're trying to.
So I wonder, though,
you know what I mean?
Instead of asking for respect, to say, daughter, I hear hurt and anger in your voice. Tell me about that. Because she's talking to you in a way, right, where almost like she's talking down to you because she's mad at you.
Yes.
Right? Or when she can't function well in her life, she wants to blame you.
Yes.
If you had done a better job, I could handle this.
Yeah.
When that isn't true.
Yes. I get that all the time.
Right? So try to speak to the feeling underneath the action, and try not to get incensed as the parent, like, well, you need to respect me or talk to me better. Right? You want to get to the heart of the feeling.
Nobody wins.
Nobody wins.
Power struggles.
You're just creating a power struggle.
Yep.
And
So, Monica, we want to send you a copy of the book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children by Jim Burns. It's also available for purchase on the New Life store at newlife.com. So here's a question I had regarding Monica's situation. We often hear the question that gets brought up, as a Christian, I'm supposed to forgive, but I can't forget. So Monica's daughter is saying that she has forgiven her mom, but could it be that she just doesn't want to forget what happened, and that's why she keeps bringing up all these old issues from the past.
Well, I think that, kind of my snarky response to all that is like, I don't know how memory got involved with forgiveness because they don't have anything to do with each other. Like, we don't have to forget. Like, forgiveness is not predicated on that. But with that said, it's that the hurt lingers. The frustration lingers. The resentment lingers. And so I could forgive Jill for saying something mean to me, and it'd be hurtful.
How often does that happen?
Yeah, because that does happen a lot, Chris.
Right?
Thank you for forgiving me.
You're welcome. That's my passive-aggressive way of confronting the situation.
Okay. We'll talk after.
But I still have to deal with my hurt that I carry. That's the healing process. That's what I love being part of New Life, is because, yes, forgiveness is an essential part of it, but it's not all of it. The other part is if I'm forgiving someone but still carrying resentment and bitterness or hurt, if I'm still scapegoating them for my life's problems, that means I have more work to do with me. And I have to turn that back to myself and say, what do I need to do to grow so that this person is no longer responsible for all the problems in my life?
Okay, back to the phones we go at 1-800-229-3000 after I remind you that we have our first Club New Life quarterly Zoom call coming up next month, February 3rd. It's a Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. If you're part of the Club New Life family, you can call or register online for this Zoom call. And this is one of the ways we say thank you to our Club New Life family. And if you have joined today, if you haven't joined yet, today is a great day to do so, and then you can be there on February 3rd with us on Zoom. We're hoping to get 5 new Club New Life members every day. Join the family. It's a growing family, and we never argue at Thanksgiving, right?
No.
So,
because we don't allow it.
Because we don't allow it. That's right. Okay, let's go to Baltimore, Maryland. Here is Mickey, who is listening to us on Family Talk Channel 131, I believe, on Sirius XM. Hello, Mickey.
Hi, hello. So my question is forgiving myself for what happened to my children. I have 2 children who were molested, and I feel like I should have been there to protect them. They are now adults, and they're doing pretty well in life right now, but I have these moments where I think about what happened, and I find myself crying in the night, even woke my husband up one night, just crying in the night because I think about when they were younger and it happened to them, and I feel like I should have been there to protect them, and I wasn't. And I just want to, I guess I need to just learn or forgive myself, and I don't, I just don't want to have those feelings.
And Mickey, so you said they're adults now. How old are they now?
25 and 35.
Okay, and what were their ages when the molestation happened?
7 and 12.
7 and 12. Okay, and was this ongoing or a one-time incident? Excuse me.
One was a one-time incident, and one was ongoing.
Okay. Okay. Well, Mickey, it's a hard thing. I think now as they're older and you're reflecting back on yourself as a parent and what was happening around that time, there's a lot of deep grief that you have because none of us have children to have them molested. Right? And we see ourselves as, loving parents. I'm wondering, Mickey, once you found out, what did you do in the aftermath?
Oh, when I found out, I was, extremely angry. And I mean, I've never had so much hate in my heart. And if I could kill at the moment, that's what I felt. I was deeply angry. And it was from family members, and I was very upset.
Okay.
And what I did was my oldest, my 35-year-old, she she has ongoing counseling now, and she says that she does well with her counseling. But my younger, my 25-year-old is a son, and he never sought counseling, but he's in the military. He does pretty well to me, but it's just me.
Right.
I feel like
so they have moved on in certain way, each in their own way. Although they will, continue to deal with this in different ways. So you were extremely angry. What did you do in terms of getting the kids help, being there for them when you found out?
Well, both of them, I sought the police because I took one to court, and that person was charged.
Okay.
The other person did not. They said they were too close in age or something. They said something about the statute and all of that. Right. And so they didn't do anything about them. But I just sought counseling for them. But like I said, my youngest, he didn't want to go to counseling.
Okay. So Mickey, once you found out as a parent, as a caring, loving parent, you jumped into action. And you did what you could do. Now, we can beat ourselves up for not being aware that something is going on. And there may be a whole host of reasons for that. I don't know about your childhood upbringing, if you have experienced the same thing. But we can't, as parents, we cannot protect our children from everything. But once we know about it, what we do then makes a huge, huge difference in the recovery of the children.
And I think it's important to note, Mickey, that your natural propensity to blame yourself is actually a control mechanism. It's, when we have these experiences when somebody harms us and it's outside of our control, worse yet, someone harms our child, there is something inside of us that can't wrap ourselves around the fact that there's nothing we could have done about it. And so the control factor tells us if you would have done different. It comes with a bunch of shoulds. You should have done this. You should have done that. And it beats you up. But when you start to see that, no, that's me trying to control an uncontrollable, and that I need to learn, probably forgiveness, letting yourself off the hook, and then commending yourself. But I also have this hint here, Mickey, and I'll say this really quickly. If this is also your experience and your history, you got more work to do.
Mickey, thanks for calling in today on New Life Live. And when we come back, I want to let you know about an episode of Life Recovery Today that might benefit you. So stay on the line.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are doing 2 programs of New Life Live today. This one's going to end in about 10 to 15 minutes, but then we're going to take a quick break and be back with another hour of the program. So if you're on hold right now, stay on hold. If we don't get to you this hour, we'll get to you next hour. And we're going to keep the phone lines open so you can keep calling in. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call. We were speaking to Mickey a little while ago, and the resource I wanted to remind her about, and I say remind because I mentioned it earlier in the program, and that's our Life Recovery Today TV show, which aired this morning at 9:30 Eastern Time on NRB TV. And you can find it at liferecoverytoday.net. On today's show, Dr. Alice Benton and Becky Brown discussed the importance of forgiving yourself and others. So you can find that again at liferecoverytoday.net. Check that out. Okay, back to the phones. Here is Jay in Green Bay, Wisconsin, listening on Sirius XM on Family Talk Channel 131. Hello, Jay.
How you doing?
Doing well. What led you to call us today?
Okay, well, my wife and I, we've been married for 32, going on 33 years here this coming summer. We have adult children, and I'm looking for our best advice, I guess, from a standpoint of how do we regain our intimacy? We've both got health issues, so physical intimacy has been very, it hasn't been happening per se, and but I know that there are other ways to be intimate, and we're both looking at ways of how we could do that to keep our marriage strong.
Okay, what would you guys say?
One, I love the question, Jay, because, as life happens, as age happens, as different transitions, our intimacy, physical or sexual, does change, but also the emotional intimacy changes over time as well. Like my wife and I are in a season right now where there's a lot of intimacy connection around our children's activities. We know that that's going to end, and therefore our emotional intimacy and communication intimacy is going to have to change as well. And so, again, we don't talk enough about those changes and how to diversify and really multiply the different levels and activities for intimacy. Jay, my first question is, what do you and your wife love doing together?
Well, it's been so long. For the last 20 years, it's been our kids.
Okay.
Sports, and it's all been kids. So we enjoy going out to dinner. We have date nights every Friday night. But aside from that, I don't know that we've ever really had the time to know what we enjoy to do together, because it's always been our family together.
Yeah.
So now it's pretty much the two of us.
Well, one suggestion I'd have around that is, it sounds like your kids were you and your wife's purpose.
Well, probably more so my wife. She's a stay-at-home mom. She actually just went back to work after 19 years. So that's a change in itself.
Yeah.
So yes, it's
well, and that's where I'd encourage two things: rediscover having fun together, and that means you may have to experiment. You may have to try some new things and try some different things, or these things. I wonder, the things in the back of our heads, like, I wonder if I would enjoy this. Well, stop wondering and try it and see if you like it. The other aspect of this is, I would just enter into conversations and what tugs at your heart, what tugs at your wife's heart, and can you discover new purposes to revolve your energies around?
And Jay, I love that you guys do a date night, but I would also like switch it up and do different things. And maybe, like Chris is saying, try something that neither one of you have ever tried before. Sometimes we need to not just do the same routine over and over again. And I would think about being more intentional about courting your wife again.
That's good.
She's out in the work world. She's got new interests and things happening. And think about, what did you do to woo her in the very beginning? And do that again,
Send her flowers.
Or text her during the day. Tell her what you're thinking in terms of your love for her. Do things that kind of can recultivate.
Fill her tank.
Yeah, some of the love feelings that have always been there or were there in the beginning, but kind of got lost with all the kids in terms of the expression of them.
Yeah.
Be sappy.
Okay.
Sappy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, be sappy.
Go back to being sappy.
Don't
Remember?
worry, be sappy.
And here's the other thing. Okay, when she comes home from work, this is one of the things when I was first on radio, the guys' just heads did a spin, right? 10-second kiss. So when she comes in the door, 10-second kiss. Hug. That increases oxytocin.
Yeah.
So you need to do a 20-second hug, a 6 to 10-second kiss when you've been apart for a long time.
And these are easy things to do.
If you have lips and arms, you can do those things.
I love
right?
it. Yeah, that's fantastic.
In terms of your limitations.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jay?
I like it.
Okay.
So there's a book that's available on the newlife.com store. We're going to send you a copy of it, Jay. It's called Finding Joy in the Empty Nest by Jim Burns. That might be helpful.
Absolutely.
And the Intimacy in Marriage Intensive is happening in just a few weeks in Orange County, California. So that would be a great thing to do. February 14th is Valentine's Day, which is on a Friday. And Jay said he and his wife go out to dinner on Fridays. So you can go out to dinner here in Orange County, California. Lots of great restaurants to choose from, right? And the early bird rate ends on January 31st. You can find out more about that at newlife.com. You can register for that. Something I wanted to ask really quick, and I know we're running out of time. And if you're on hold right now, hang on, because we're going to do another hour after this. But after 20 years... He says, I think it was 20 years of, raising the kids and everything else that they were going through. So anybody listening right now who is in that stage of raising their family and how they're thinking, they just heard what happened to Jay and his wife. They don't want that to happen to them. So what are some of the things that they can do to prevent that?
Well, what I've been thinking about this show, Brian, is that, when we talk about launching children or we talk about empty nesting, too many of us fly blind, and then when it shows up, act surprised. The truth of the matter is these are inevitables. That I'm talking to myself right now with a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. Chris, prepare now. My wife's name is Ember. Chris and Ember, prepare now. Have these conversations. Let this not be a surprise. But if something comes up as a surprise, talk about it. Do the work. And this leads me right back to the Intimacy in Marriage workshop. One of the many, many benefits that this workshop provides couples is the ability to have the conversations you've never had and absolutely need to have.
It creates a catalyst for it, because sometimes people are just deer in headlights. They don't know where to start the conversation.
Exactly.
So we prime the pump for that.
Yeah.
Intimacy in Marriage. Again, it's happening February 14th. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so 3 days. And it's also for engaged couples. So it's not just for married couples who have been together for 40 years or 4 years, but for those of you who are looking forward to the future and are planning and are thinking, what am I really getting myself into? This is a great intensive workshop for you to attend, and it could be something that if you know a couple that's engaged, maybe you pay for it so that they can attend.
Wedding gift.
A wedding gift, an early wedding gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, better than a toaster that's going to break again in a year. So send them to the Marriage Intensive Intimacy in Marriage, and you can find out more about that at newlife.com. So much going on at newlife.com. You got to go check it out. Follow us on social media, and we'll be back with another hour of the program coming up.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video, and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.